everybody, Garnett Lee with your question of the week for Weekend Confirmed. If you want to get your questions to us, you know how to do it on Twitter and on Facebook. Hope you are subscribed to the show, of course, every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, on your iTunes RSS feed or wherever. Now this one comes from Great White, who I'm not going to endorse the methodology here. This is not the reason I'm reading it, although I think it was funny because he's right at the end. I know this won't get read, I'm just venting. Well, actually, I thought it was interesting, but I'm not really going to address your question completely directly. I want to talk about it a little bit as a launching point to talk about some things. So, Great White says, question of the week, no vehicles in Far Cry 3 multiplayer. That's a franchise staple. Is Ubisoft nuts? Well, no, Ubisoft isn't nuts. I think that the reality of it is that it's another example of just how much the foot soldier combat of Call of Duty games has completely taken over what publishers are pushing developers to do in the multiplayer space. So think about it. Right now, if you're thinking about doing a multiplayer online game that's a shooter, what's the upside of putting vehicles in your game? Even if it is a franchise staple, don't get upset. I understand that, like, as a fan, you're thinking, man, the upside is that that's what makes my game special. But go back and look at Homefront. So Homefront was done by Chaos, and Chaos had a great history of doing Battlefield-style, large-scale combat, lots of different troop types, and vehicles. Battlefield already does vehicles really well. But as the Battlefield team has even learned, or at least felt that they've learned, or maybe they were just pushed there by EA, they needed to do more foot soldier stuff. That's why they went to close combat. So I think all you're seeing with Far Cry is another attempt to... I was going to say something that sounds a little PR related there. I think that in the publisher's mind, I think that they think that that's what you want. They think you want Call of Duty because you play lots of Call of Duty. So if I'm going to be successful at Far Cry multiplayer, I've got to make my Far Cry multiplayer something akin to Call of Duty, but with Far Cry sort of personality to it. And it, you know, yes, vehicles might have been part of what you consider the personality, but I think they're thinking of it more in a creative space of on the island with Far Cry weapons and health system, but still relatable enough that you can say, oh, I was playing Call of Duty and I hopped over here and played some Far Cry. Oh, I kind of like this Far Cry. I would play this. Saw the same thing in Assassin's Creed. Look, Assassin's Creed 3 adds more traditional sorts of deathmatch multiplayer into a game that was, I mean, look, no one even thought Assassin's Creed needed multiplayer, and then they came up with this really cool cat and mouse hide and seek game. Everybody loved that. But now that's led them to have to put more traditional multiplayer in Assassin's Creed. It seems like that's sort of a falling off a hill and just keeping rolling down and going, oh, well, now we got multiplayer in here. But the multiplayer we did was cool, but now that we have multiplayer, we need to add this other multiplayer. So it's a catch-22. You want to play something that is Far Cry. Far Cry wants to give you more multiplayer. And at the same time, they look at the multiplayer communities and say, look, what people really think, what people are saying they want to play is Call of Duty. Now, of course, we could say, you know, Battlefield's a different game. I think there's plenty of space for a good multiplayer shooter that has vehicles in it. It's not going to be Far Cry. And that's a bummer, especially if you're a Far Cry fan. So speak out. Tell them that's what you want. We'll sit there and lead the charge too. And I think it's going to take a little while still, but I do see, you know, some cracks in the foundation of what's going on in multiplayer. You know, it'll be interesting to see how much Halo is able to challenge the fractured Call of Duty base. You've got the Modern Warfare base, and you've got the Black Ops base. And it seems like that's really divided the Call of Duty camps now. I don't know, Ryan, you're a big Call of Duty fan. Has it really sort of, I mean, are people still lined up like I'm a Black Ops person or I'm a Call of Duty or Modern Warfare person?
I haven't noticed a ton of that. I mean, everyone has an opinion of it, and everyone has a side, but I don't think it really influences which game they play.
So you think Halo's going to, what do you think, can Halo challenge it? Can Halo upset that balance?
And I've also noticed there's a Halo people and Call of Duty people.
Yeah.
It's very much like I'm not a Halo person at all. Like
but you see what doesn't come into the argument here is Battlefield people. And
right.
Battlefield has great history on PC, and it's very beloved on PC. It never really made the jump as strong in the console. Maybe because of compromises, maybe because it was just a PC-centric thing. I don't know. But yeah, we need something to champion that. We need to break out of the rut. We definitely need to break out of the Call of Duty, like everybody needs to do the same thing, because I'm telling you, we need more variety, not more people trying to do the same thing. There you go. Great White, great question.
The regular NES, I've owned every single Nintendo console. I remember saving up for my N64 as a kid, and, Toys R Us calling and they were selling it like 3 or 4 days early, and how exciting that was. And I'm still stoked because there's going to be a lot of great Nintendo games.